This is Dave Arnold, your host of Cooking Issues, coming to you live from the heart of Manhattan in Rockefeller Center, New York City, where I guess they have a Christmas tree. I haven't seen it yet. Newsstand Studios, joined as usual with John here in front of me. How you doing?
Doing great, thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah. Peachy.
All right.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Joe Hazen rocking the panels. What's up?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing all right. Hey, I'm so New York, I didn't even look behind me to see the tree. How about that?
It's there. It's there.
It's a tree.
Did you hear the one at the White House fell down?
No, sweet.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that so much. Yo, we'll get back to that in a sec. I got Jackie Molecules over there in California. How you doing?
Yo, I'm good.
Good. And Nastasia the Hammer Lopez, what's good?
Hi. Nothing's good.
Nothing's good. Well, good. Stay consistent. And then in the upper left, we got Quinn, rocking Vancouver Island. What's up, Quinn? Yeah?
Not too much. My sad news, my Christmas water buffalo prime rib connection fell through.
Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe, like, what was it, like a legitimate person, or was it like the butcher from Chicago that Nastasia and I...
It was a legitimate person, but the logistics didn't work out.
Yeah. So it's not like with us where the butcher is now in jail for doing illegal meat practices. Because that's what happened to us.
As far as I know, no.
Yeah. But when we used to buy meat from that guy, it was one of Nastasia's favorite moments that I remember at the French Culinary Institute, where we were cooking a whole raccoon. Remember this, Stas?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We're cooking a whole raccoon. Low temp, sous vide, right? The same way that, like, I was thinking maybe it's kind of like a really big cooey, right? Because we used to take, we would take the cooey and we would I did it with he's now in bar, but he was in the culinary intern at the time at the SCI, and he was bringing in cooeys for his final, guinea pigs for his final project, right? Because he's Ecuadorian. I think he's Ecuadorian. And so we were low temping the whole cooey and then deep frying them to crisp up the outside. And you know what they were? Delicious. They're real good. So good. Talk about, like, if you need a whole animal on a skewer, I highly recommend a guinea pig. Unless you grew up, whatever.
You can get them at markets in Brooklyn, I've seen.
Yeah.
Like in the freezer section.
Yeah. They're always frozen. I've never seen one fresh.
Well,
I'm going to go ahead and...
where you could go.
Yeah. John, not the same guinea pig, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and say it tastes better than rabbit.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say cooey better than rabbit.
Okay.
Anyway.
Wow.
So Nastasia and I get this raccoon, and it's rather large. I mean, cooeys are like, a little bit, they're smallish. Smaller than most rabbits you get. And how big was that raccoon, Nastasia?
I don't know, like 14 inches long.
Yeah. And gross, right? And so we low temped it and then deep fried it, and it was disgusting. It was just terrible. But that's not the good part. The good part is they were constantly bringing tour groups by these big windows at the French Culinary Institute where we were working, and Nastasia and I only had access to the real kitchens for about 35 seconds every day in between the classes. We would come out of our garbage room like roaches and rats and like work in the kitchen for an hour before we get kicked out again. Remember this, Stas?
Yeah.
We're like, we'll go back to our garbage room soon. Like that. Pretty much that's how we were treated. And, please let me cook a little longer. Anyway, so we have this this raccoon that had just come out of the bath, like dripping wet with like oil and like all this stuff. We're getting ready to deep fry it. Tour guide comes by with a group of prospective students. One person, Nastasia's listening because she's next to the window. One person, what?
We had to leave when they came by the kitchen. So we had to go back to the trash room.
Oh yeah, because we weren't. We weren't. What's it called? First of all, I refused to wear chef's hats because I was like, no. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple of things I refused to do. So that was one of them. Nastasia too. Nastasia's like, if he's not going to wear it, I'm not going to wear the goofy hat. There's no way Nastasia was going to wear that hat.
Yeah.
Am I right, Stas? You're not going to wear that hat. First of all, I understand it was a thing.
We weren't real chefs.
Yeah, I know. And the other thing is that, like, it was, okay. The other thing is that we had to wear those super tall paper toques. You know what I mean? And you could not go into a fridge with one of those things without knocking it off your head and looking like a complete tool. You know what I mean? I was like, what the hell is this? This
Yeah.
is the least efficient method of covering your hair that I've ever seen in my life. It makes the Strymel look like an effective hat, like a quick effective hat for a hair covering. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, you know what they are? They're the equivalent of those super tall, double tall bikes that you see idiots like hipsters riding around, where if they stop, they fall over because their feet can't touch the ground. One of those. Anyway, like that. So like we huddle over and there's the things, and so the one of the teenagers or whatever turn around. What do you think it is they're cooking? Tour guide, without missing a beat, looks over, goes, "Don't know, baby," and then just starts walking. Oh man,
that's one hell of an answer.
Yeah. I don't know, baby. Just keep going.
Amazing.
Nuts. I don't even know how we got on that story. Talking about Christmas trees? Not caring? New Yorkers? I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
Anyway.
We're talking about...
Buffalo.
my
Yeah.
meat connection.
Yeah. So I'm sure, listen, if anyone can hear the sound of this voice within the next, week or so, can someone figure out where my man can get him some water buffalo? He was trying to choose between water buffalo and bison, but now he's choosing between nothing and Cadopolis because he's not getting anything. You know what I mean? So instead he's getting the Shkoton Gorp. You know what I'm saying?
We're working on plans A, B, C through D.
All right. Well, what are C and D since A and B are in the toilet right now?
Well, again, going to the mainland and getting...
Oh, you were going to get some island buffalo?
Well, no, here's the thing. Okay, here's the weird thing. The animals, live animals, come to the island and they get slaughtered and then they get sent back.
Why? Do you guys have different rules?
What?
Well, when it's on an island, we can kill them however we want. I mean, what's the thing?
I think because there were other bison ranches on the island, we may have an abattoir that specializes in bison.
Oh, now I have in my head the word abattoir, as used to be said by the Hearst Ranch grass-fed beef people. Abattoir.
Oh, that was White Oak Pasture. That was White Oak Pastures.
Oh, White Oak Pastures? Yeah. Abattoir.
Oh, man, that just brought me back, yeah.
How good was that guy's voice? Was he a good dude or no?
That was great.
Abattoir.
I don't know. I mean, from what I could tell.
Yeah, he has a very smooth voice for someone who's about to come up and kill you. Abattoir.
Will Harris.
Yeah. So back to Christmas trees. Oh, by the way, on animals, Quinn, I've never had one, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that if you can get yourself a standing yak roast, as long as it's a high altitude yak, and there is actually a Colorado and maybe even a New Mexico high altitude yak ranch. Yeah, I've never bought their stuff because I don't have the money, but a Christmas yak roast, that would be nice.
Have you ever been over to that butcher, Paisanos on Smith Street?
No, but I like the name.
They have rattlesnake. They have a couple different types of bison, probably buffalo too as well. They have some really exotic frozen meat.
But is it good?
I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea to do any of that.
Yeah, I mean, yak meat is legitimately delicious. Straight up good, right? I've never had I've had buffalo and bison, but never huge things. I mean, back when, it's hard to tell how much of the old writing about, plains buffalo, plains bison, what their taste was like, because it used to be said that you could not eat your fill of it because people enjoyed eating it so much. And it was relatively lean and easy eating. But I don't know how much of that is colored by the racism of us wanting to completely wipe out the species so that we could also wipe out the people. It's hard to say. You know what I mean?
You can buy a bull calf yak for $2,200 from this place in Colorado. High Country Critters.
High Country Critters?
Yeah.
Buy the whole thing?
Yeah.
But what if I...
Living.
Oh, I don't... What am I going to do with it? Hey, Jen, good news, bad news. Yeah. I got the Christmas roast covered, but, meanwhile, the yak will be so mad living in a New York City apartment. There's nothing... not only do I have to live in this tiny apartment, but it's low lying. It's like taking a freaking marathon runner and I don't know, whatever. So back to Christmas for a second. Jack, tell me a little more about this White House Christmas tree falling over.
I don't know about that.
I read it on Instagram last week that because the major gusts of winds that occurred over on the East Coast took it down, and no one was hurt. A lot of ornaments were damaged. I think the tree kind of splintered. I'm not sure what they did. Maybe they put up a fake one.
That's kind of sad, though. Like, if it's splintered, I mean, I like a good, like, my favorite was I was in Mystic, Connecticut, which is where my in-laws live, and they did their big Christmas tree light up. And, like, you know, it was a huge buildup, like, you know, fake Santa and everything was there, the whole 9 yards. Like, we're all freezing our butts off because it used to be cold around that time of year back then. And they flicked off on the lights and one half the tree went out. It, like, went, and then one half the tree went out. And I was the only one. Because I love stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I love the wah-wah. Wow. All right. Yeah. So, do you guys have any good? I have a good food story. I went to this restaurant. What was it called? Temperance.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Good. So, you have a very like crowd pleasing beef tartare.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been selling a lot lately, which I'm happy about.
You want to talk about your particular tartare? By the way, it comes out looking like a perfect, imagine if hockey pucks were big or you were tiny. Looking at a hockey puck, it's like a hockey, right?
Yeah,
it's like a big hockey puck.
Right in the ring mold and stuff full, yeah.
Struck off nicely, no little flurs of garbage coming off of it. Yeah. No, you know what I love to see in a tartare? Ropey, sinewy bits of like protein garbage like coming off of the fat chunks and forming like little weird hairs.
Yep.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I hate that.
No. So we take hanger steak, grind it up, and then mix it with diced shallots, capers, and then like a piccalilli aioli. So it's the Heinz piccalilli from the jar, and then egg yolk, Worcestershire, Tabasco, black pepper, and mayo, and then just toss the meat with that and put some chives on top, give it a little color, and it's delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. It's what I like about it is it's got a good the acid hit from the pickles.
The piccalilli, yeah.
So it gives it that like it's got real nice acid tang, which makes it so you know how like a lot of times tartare, if it's not balanced right, you can be like one bite you're like yay, and the next bite you're like and then you're like you know what I mean? It's kind of like I am with like when someone gives you too much foie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That too much foie feeling.
Yeah.
Some people can't have too much foie, but like I can. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
I love some foie.
Yeah.
And I could eat non-finite amounts of pâté de foie gras spread on infinite amounts of bread.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, more unctuous. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
But like the acid, I think really brings it out and makes it, I think, real crowd pleaser.
Thanks. Yeah. No, appreciate it. Yeah. So it's been selling very well since I put it on the menu, which I'm happy about.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how like a lot of times when you have acid and something like that, the meat, especially if it sits around, can get kind of grainy because the acid changes it and the bind gets weird.
Yeah.
No, good.
Good. Yeah. Glad to hear that. Thank you. Yeah.
Had your Fra Diavolo. So, I think Fra Diavolo is hilarious because for me, it's a 70s thing.
Oh, yeah. But it's delicious.
Yeah. Or 80s. I guess it's more 80s. But because everything in the 80s, Fra Diavolo.
Yeah.
But like Jen was like, Jen, who's my age, was like, how spicy you think? I said, it's not going to be that spicy. Come on. It's not going to be that spicy. Come on. This isn't like, Uncle Boone's or whatever. It's not going to be that spicy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was not. It's good.
Yeah. Good. Glad to hear that. Yeah.
What else do we have? I don't remember.
The chocolate mousse.
The chocolate mousse.
Yeah.
Which you've never seen the movie Top Secret.
No, I haven't. I forgot you said that.
Yeah. You got to see the movie.
Which one?
There's
quite a few.
The first one, Val Kilmer with, that's someone, chocolate mousse is the character in it. So anytime someone says chocolate mousse, in my head, I'm hearing chocolate mousse. Are you allowed to do stupid fake French accents anymore in movies, or is that considered not okay?
I don't know.
I don't think like Peter Sellers would do very well right now.
Oh no, I was thinking about that. He is one of the more talented, only did racist bits actors ever.
Like The Party?
Oh, the most racist. So hardcore. Peter Sellers, there was never a situation he couldn't make racist. You know what I mean? It was just...
I mean, even in Dr. Strangelove, as strange as that movie is, it's pretty like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He nails it, though.
He was, by all accounts, like a messed up dude in the real life. You know what I mean? Like, super talented. Super talented. You know.
Hey, I got some news for you. We had a candle company in here last week for another podcast called Magical Moments, and the company is called The New Savant. And I told them the story about the geosin.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they loved it. They're like, oh, that's because we're working with geosin right now with some candles to make the smell of the smell of rain or petrichor as it is called.
Yeah. Dirt Candy, great restaurant. Dirt Candle, I don't know. I haven't been back to Dirt Candy in a long time. Yeah. But yeah, so I'll check out their candle. You send me a link to their candle, and because every time someone comes to my house now, it's like, anyone need a lot of dirt smell? I got it. I got extra. Not using it. Anyone? Joe, you do not want this thing of dirt. Imagine if someone spilled that dirt thing in here.
Oh my God! I mean, I like the smell of dirt. So, but I mean, that's a pretty intense. I find it hilarious that you overindulge the pool with or whatever your beverage.
Yeah, only by a factor of 1 million.
Yeah, right.
Like only added 1 million times too much. Literally. Oh, I got a caller. Caller, you're on the air. Ooh. Wow. Is this?
Is Andre 3000?
Oh my goodness. Since I do not speak Bansuri, I will have to translate. Hello, how you doing? I hear that you were going to be on the show, but instead you're bottling olive oil in Philadelphia. Is that true?
We are prepping everything today to bottle the oil tomorrow.
This is Nick Coleman, Captain Greasy on the line. How you doing? Captain Oily. Apologize. Yeah.
Great. We have air shipped in oil. Even though there's a global shortage of olive oil, we have secured oil for the rest of the year. We have air shipped it in. We are bottling it, and we will be shipping it to the world starting in the middle of December.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a Patreon thing for our Patreon fools.
You guys already have a Patreon thing.
Oh, nice. So it's still active? All right. Well, then they should go on. They should go to give them your website and tell us what new fancy oils you get in. By the way, world short on oil. My man Nick, long on oil.
Wait. Quick question. Are you shipping international now?
Yeah, we ship international.
Oh.
Well, what kind of international? Like everywhere international, or like Canada, Mexico international?
Everywhere international, though there are additional shipping costs going internationally.
Yeah. Good luck when you ship to Canada and people get bent by the fact that they're like, the VAT's not included. You're like, I don't know how to calculate it. Amazon won't let me.
That's all. Yeah, like clearly outlined on our terms of agreement when buying international. Yeah. That is up to the individual buyer.
Do you know what's nice about Amazon is they just let you buy it and don't put those terms up, but then the people blame us and then we eat the entire cost. Isn't that awesome?
That is not awesome.
Yeah. I like it.
Do you know the word for not awesome is nawsome?
like nauseated awesome? Not I like it.
Yeah, not awesome. It's so nawsome.
Awesome. I don't know. Is that a new word? Did you just make that up? Are you trying to get traction on that? Is it like donkey balls? I want everyone to use donkey balls.
I think Fat Mike from NoFX got it coined in the Urban Dictionary.
Oh, nice. All right. The Urban Dictionary, if it had even a modicum of editing, so you couldn't just go and put your best friend's name in and give their name definition as butthole, I think it could be a lot better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit of regulation. Probably a good thing.
I'm not talking about a lot. I'm talking about Rap Genius level of editing. You know what I mean?
And that's sad because I had a friend who was an editor at Urban Dictionary.
Wow.
They did a terrible job.
Yeah, what'd they do? Just sit around and get high all the time?
No, not that kind of person at all. I mean, I think there's a lot of really bad stuff they have to kind of take down. I think they got their hands full.
All right. So it's more because half of it is supposed to be offensive. Every slang word is supposed to be about something offensive, right? I mean, not every, but a lot.
Right, but where do you draw the line? Because I'm sure there's some stuff that's just,
Where do I draw the line?
Well,
Donkey punch.
Yeah. Well,
I think every slang word is about like something derogatory, like, you know what I mean?
yeah, no, not every word, just many. Look, in the 90s, right, there was the American Dictionary of Slang that came out just before the internet, and it was amazing. It was an amazing. I think they only did the first 2 volumes. At least I only owned the first 2 volumes. And when I used to read that, it's just like every word was a vulgar, right? A stupid or was it stupid or execrable person. That was, I think they like everything was like that. You know what I mean? I loved it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Gotta up your insult game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway. So you want to tell us any interesting oils that you're super excited about right now?
Yeah, we have, so we're air shipping in a really cool oil from the region of Tuscia, which is in the northeast part of Lazio, sort of in between Tuscany and Umbria. And it's made with like a very classic 3-olive single estate field blend of Pendolino, Lecchino, and Moriolo olives, which are typical olives of central Italy. And it has this beautiful leafy, grassy aroma with an undertone of almond and cinnamon, and this balanced bitterness, long peppery finish. We're going to be releasing that to the public around December 15th. It'll start shipping. And super fresh oil from the last week of October's harvest. So it's an early harvest oil, really vibrant, really clean. And then we're doing a collaboration with Action Bronson with this really nice Sicilian oil from the town of Agrigento in the southern part of Sicily. And that's a monocultivar Nocellara oil. That will be released similar time. We're going to bottle that at the beginning of next week and then release it.
How are the polyphenols on that? I really like Sicilian Nocellara when it's a butt kicker.
It's in the medium robust profile. It's not as high as like the Cerasuola olive or the Coratina olive. Those are going to have higher levels of polyphenols and antioxidants in them. But this is a little more balanced, versatile. Really nice.
Should I troll you about oil color or not?
About what?
Oil color. Should I troll you about oil color again? I don't know. I feel like I've done it too much, but I enjoy doing it. I enjoy getting you to hear your spiel about, like, because you get so bent about, like, people thinking that if it's green, it's good. Or whatever people think, you know. If it's yellow, it's gonna be pottery, right? I mean, I love hearing you go ape on it.
Judge by the color.
Don't judge an oil by its color. I mean, whatever. But is it true though that some oils will change in color in a bad way as they oxidize and go rancid?
Yeah, they'll turn orange.
Yeah. Orange.
But the whole thing, like anyone who's listening, if you've never had very, very fresh olive oil before, it's a different thing. It's a fresh fruit juice, and it's clean, and you can consume a lot more of it because it's actually light.
Yeah.
And really wonderful. So
I like the fact that you think of oil as juice.
Because the olive is a stone fruit related to the peach, cherry, plum, and apple.
That's Joe Hazen is
loving it.
So
I found some David Carradine flute playing from Kung Fu.
Really? Well, someday we're gonna get a flutist in here. Like, wait, Han plays flute, right? Or she composes for flute?
She composed for flute.
Composed for flute.
Composes.
Yeah. So this is she's like a bartender in Los Angeles who does a lot of non-alcs at Cato Restaurant, and so we had her on the show a while back, Nick, and she's a composer, classical composer, as well as a bartender, and she composes music for flute quite often. And so I was like, oh, we need to get you on with Nick to do a dueling banjos kind of a situation, flute bansuri. And I said that you could be, Nick, you could be the crazy guy on the porch, or whatever, that you could be the weird dude on the porch, you know what I'm saying? And she had no idea what I was talking about. She'd never seen or heard of dueling banjos or deliverance or the anything? Can you play some sort of bansuri like diddling ding 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 ding? Is there some sort of equivalent to diddling ding 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 on a bansuri or no?
Something like that.
Din 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 din. Yeah. Yeah, sweet. This is gonna happen. This is gonna totally happen. We're gonna make this happen next year, Stas. That's on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah. Next time we do an LA thing, maybe. Get her live.
Jack and Polsky in Merlot wrestling too.
Oh yeah.
Nope, never happening.
Wait. Well, I don't understand.
This out, guys.
How is that undignified?
Wrestling in a pool of Merlot, how is that undignified?
Jellied Merlot.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's jellied. All right.
That just brings all the dignity back. No one wants to slop around in a puddle of spilled wine, but this is a Jello ring. It just reeks of dignity, right?
No, never.
Was Polsky down, Stas? I don't remember.
I feel like he was, yeah.
I doubt it.
All right.
He won't be.
By the way, what, we got a caller? Oh, here we go. Yeah. And 1 second, folks. Listen.
Took me a second to find it.
Yeah.
And then remix it because it can't really play this on radio.
Because it's not cleared.
Exactly.
So that's fair use. Come on.
The old call and response.
Guitar still think he's going to kick butt. Yeah, I see what you mean. And now you're getting into banjo territory, Mr. Guitar. Get ready to have your butt handed to you. Oh, yeah! All right! Woo! Oh, my God. It's so awesome.
There's everyone's reason to upgrade to the video plan of the Patreon.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I mean, banjo is such a great instrument. Anyone that don't look, Steve Martin's been saying for decades, don't listen to my comedy, listen to the banjo. I mean, I know it's doing that, but I think in a way, he's right.
Yeah.
Banjo's a great instrument. Underappreciated, as are the bagpipes. I don't know about the bansuri. I'm still on the fence. I'm trying to learn to appreciate the bansuri more, my man Nick. Tell me something that's going to make me appreciate bansuri more.
It's just relaxing.
Oh, yeah, that's totally anti my vibe. You know what I mean? Is there any sort of bansuri music that kind of makes you stand on edge and run around and beat your head against the wall? Because that's more my speed.
Yeah, I think if you ran it through a distortion pedal.
Oh my God, yeah, we need that. Oh wait, we have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going?
Going all right. What's up?
I have a question about sous vide procedure and maybe just an adjustment to what my expectations are.
Oh, great. An actual technical question. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I am a private chef, and I do small-scale catering and stuff. When I pre-cook a lot of my meats sous vide, and I am then reheating them usually in the circulator, and I'll do it at 5 degrees lower than what the end temperature is, and then do a finishing sear, rosé, brown it, butter kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's just not very juicy. The meat isn't. It's not.
Yeah, give me an example. Give me an example of a cut.
So I just did chicken breast for somebody.
Okay, and what was your protocol?
Cooked it at 149. In this case, I did season it ahead of time. Cooked it at 149 for an hour. My general procedure is to cook them, and it's all kind of based on the chef steps guidelines, like through the Joule app and stuff, like time and temperature and stuff, which is super handy. So cook it. I pull it out, let it rest at room temperature to kind of come back down to temp before I put it in the refrigerator to like fully chill.
Mm-hmm.
It hangs out in the bag, and then reheat it on site. Cut it out of the bag, brown it up in the pan, and then slice and serve.
So you're reheating it, like you said 5 degrees, but like you're just basically reheating it up to like 140 up to 60.
Yeah, 130 to 140 or 135 to 140, kind of depending on what the cut is. If it's something that's a lower temperature, like if I'm doing beef tenderloin or something like that, and they want it like medium rare, then I'll just like bring it up to like 120.
Yeah.
Or I will sear it and then slowly bring it up in an oven. But I love the benefit of the sous vide. You can do all the temperatures kind of at the same time. But
right now, on the so in general, there's two different kind of problems. So like on the chicken, not after an hour, but do you have that in Celsius, John? 149.
149 is 65.
All right, it's a little high, right? It's a little bit high to hold it for an hour. You'd want that middle to probably get up to like 63, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference between 65 and 63. Have you ever, do you have this, like, I'm just trying to figure out where the dryness is happening. Usually what happens when chicken stays too long, and an hour is not too long. I mean, I prefer like on a breast, because breasts are, depends on how big the breast is too. Like if you're doing a small breast, it's going to get up to temperature in about 30 minutes more, 30 minutes. So if you were doing 65, you probably only needs like about 30. I mean, I would temp it and see what your temp is in the middle, right? And a lot of these longer times are designed so that if you stack two together, you're still not going to get any parts that are viciously, undercooked. But what happens typically is the meat gets kind of fibery, right? So
if you overcook it, you get it mushy, not tender, mushy.
Exactly, tender, not mushy. And the issue with that is that to me the characteristic of that happening is that the first bite. It seems like it has juice, but then all the juice leaves and you're left with a mouth like you're chewing like a wad of fiber, basically. Like that's like the characteristic. Exactly. Yeah. So usually,
but I've noticed it with other cuts too, and it's kind of like across the spectrum. Like I love to do the pork shoulder at 135 for like 24 hours, and then you chill it, slice it, and sear it up in a pan, and it's just like you don't get that like juice running all over your cutting board, which I suppose you don't want anyway if it's properly rested, but then. When you bite into it, it's not necessarily dry, but it's also not like juicy.
Right.
And I'm just trying to understand if it's just my own perception, like if that's not a result that you can achieve with sous vide, if it has something to do with the fact that I'm cooking it, cooling it, then reheating it, like would it be better if I just cooked it and then served it straight away rather than going through that cooling procedure?
Yeah, not according to Bruno Gousseau. But so what I would do is I would do a multi. So another thing I do, so like as soon as the meat gets up to temperature, a particular temperature, the protein coloration, the look of the meat is going to be relatively stable, right? So if you, so what I do a lot of times to preserve texture, especially in beef and things like that, is where you want to let them ride longer to make it more tender. Is I'll hit my target mark and then I'll drop the temperature while it's cooking, not on the reheat, right? So that the majority of the time after the internals reach what I need, it's at a lower soak. So I basically think of like your cook point and then a soak, which is what I would do for something like the pork, right? But any meat that starts out tender that you cook for a long time is only going to get more fibery. Right, or more, not fiber, but like get that thing that we're talking about, right? Because it's already tender, right? So you're always kind of in this like back and forth with it. So, but on the chicken, what I would do is I would first try to knock your time down a little bit. I would then also, I would taste it before you sear it, right? I would taste it before you sear it. Okay. And just taste one before you sear it. And if that one's good, then it's overcooking on the sear step. Right. So like that, in which case what that means is that you need to either pull it out of the bath a little while longer before you sear it. accelerate your searing technique, right? Like the easiest way to accelerate a searing technique is to pre-sear it, because it takes half the time to get a crust on something that's been pre-seared, right? So
yep, and that's something that I do too. And like in the case of pork, like I won't season it until the end, because you get that kind of hammy texture. But in this case, and this is the first time I've done chicken breast in a while, believe it or not, but I did pre-season the chicken, sear it, and then bag it and cook it, and went through that whole procedure. And the texture on it was fine. I thought that was great, actually, but still just a little bit like not juicy.
So seasoning, it's interesting. So I've changed my feelings a little bit from, in 2012, when you'd hope that you'd learn something in 11 years, right? But a lot of my issues with pre-seasoning, pre-salting, let's just call it salting, right? The other seasonings, a lot of it, like we're talking about functional seasoning. So a lot of my issues with pre-salting meat, specifically beef, and these are tests that I did with ribeyes, because that's the steak that I love to cook the most. We didn't like the meat when it was seasoned, cooked, salted, cooked, chilled, and reheated. The same meat was good if you didn't chill it and reheat it. And the reason is that it just got, like you said, kind of a hammy, kind of a firmer texture, right? Which makes it eat like a not as good cut of meat as it is. So then I went to, whenever I was going to do a cook chill reheat, I would never salt the meat. But then I discovered that you can get around that by just dropping the temperature once you hit the target. So you hit your cooking target, and then, so I never keep a steak, like a normal steak that's like around an inch and a half. So an inch thick steak, I'm only cooking it at my cooking temperature for about 45, 50 minutes. Inch and a half, I don't really raise it that much, because I really don't need the inside to get that high. And then I drop it down to the lowest safe temperature, which we can argue about what the lowest safe temperature is, but I put it at 52. As long as all the things are separated and the outside's already been kind of flash pasteurized, so none of these like bacteria that are on the outside of the steak can get growing. And then I do my soak at 52, so I get my tenderizing at 52, and you have to let it ride. You can let it ride for a long time, then chill it, and then you don't get that kind of cured hammy taste. It's keeping the meat at its finished cook temperature for a long time in the presence of salt that gives it that kind of hamminess. And then it's long cooking of any cut of meat that's already tender that gives it that kind of over fibery thing, which is why it's very hard to do a good job on, for instance, a tenderloin, because it just doesn't have any connective tissue. And so it's basically done the minute it hits temperature, and you don't want it to go any longer than that,
right, because there's no collagen, no connective tissue going on in there, right?
Yeah. And by the way, I'd say I actually like tenderloin. I'm not one of these haters. Like if someone hands me a nicely cooked filet, I'm like, this tastes good. I'm not going to lie and be like, me, it has no beef taste. Yeah, it's good. It tastes good. I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
To me, it's all about context. Like, my preferred way of having a tenderloin is like pretty rare, but done on like at a hibachi restaurant. Like that was actually what my first job was, working at a local place that did hibachi, and they sear it and they like slice it super thin and do like this whole kind of sauce on the hibachi with like butter and soy sauce and all that stuff. And that to me is great. Like I don't think I'm going to seek out a tenderloin, but I'm definitely, to me it's all about context. Like, and I like temperatures for different steaks. So like I prefer, generally speaking, like medium rare, medium. But for tenderloin, I'll take that rare, medium rare. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with tenderloin. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and that's exactly right? Because like it wants to be at a lower temperature, and so it's perfect for someone who's going to use infinite heat for relatively short amount of time, so you get some sort of textural difference, and put some sort of, I don't know. I was thinking like, remember remember when everyone had a peppercorn sauce? Oh, the peppercorn sauce. Oh, I love peppercorn sauce.
I was going to say, I'm from Des Moines, and we love our fillets just like swimming in cream sauce, and that's always a good experience as well. Steak de Burgo. Have you ever had steak de Burgo?
No.
You can only get it in Des Moines. It's usually medallions of tenderloin. Well, there's a couple of different schools of thought on it, because it's kind of like 100-year-old tradition. But I think the original one was like tenderloin tips that were seasoned with like Italian seasoning and then like browned up with some garlic and then like swimming in clarified butter. The version that I learned and the version that I do is more like a tenderloin medallion, but it's pan-seared, pan-roasted, and then garlic shallot, white wine, heavy cream, Italian herbs, fresh basil, and a ton of butter too. Oh, sorry, shouldn't have.
Yeah.
cursed.
No, what's to go wrong with that? I used to make something not like that, but a cream-based one with mushrooms and onions that was an old Julia Child recipe. That was good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And go tip because
love me a steak, Diane too.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. Oh man, bring back tableside and flames, man. Always. Do you know, like,
Yep.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, look, no one wants to do that kind of stuff anymore. Like, it's just not the way it works anymore. But like, I always love when I see like someone who has the tableside skills. I'm like, what?
Tableside Caesar.
Oh man, old school.
Yeah.
Where they do the rub and toss.
Yep.
Rub and toss. Now that's not an Urban Dictionary thing. That's an actual culinary technique. What'd you say?
I've never actually had crepe Suzette, but after having watched a bunch of videos, like, I get it and I understand how freaking good that would be. Like, crepes caramelized and like flambéed with sugar and like an orange, like Grand Marnier butter situation. Like, yeah, give me that. I want that. That sounds real good.
I like it. It's a little too alcoholic as a dessert for me. You know what I mean? Like, I like my desserts to be my dessert and my alcohol to be my alcohol, but I understand that I am weird. I understand that this is a me thing and not an everybody thing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's because I used to have it as a kid.
What if you take crepe Suzette and then put it in your 5-ton press?
I could totally do that. You could totally do a crepe Suzette. My home press is only 4 tons. Don't oversell it.
Whatever.
Only 4 tons. But yeah, I just wrote.
Are you gonna stuff the crepes with like a soft like sweet cheese too? So that would be some good gush factor.
So what I would so if we were actually going to do this, I would soak maybe flambe some of it or burn some sugar, throw it in with the grandma, in with the crepes, and then add another base because otherwise it'd be too sweet. Squeeze the heck out of it, and then probably do like a milk syrup or yogurt syrup for the cream base, and then shake that up, and you could do it'd be good. Do you know what I'm working? I shouldn't say this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm working on now? So like I may be involved in a bar program early next year.
Nice.
Yeah. So if I say this and somebody else comes out with it before I do, or should I not say it? I'll murder all of you. Ready? Ready for it? There is a dust cloud called Sagittarius B2 that has very complex organic molecules in it that were formed, in space on ice sheets, right? And one of those compounds smells like almonds, and the other one smells like raspberries and rum. So I'm going to do a raspberry rum, raspberry orgeat, raspberry almond orgeat, like rum drink, and it's going to be called Sagittarius B2. I already claimed it, so anyone that hears this, I claimed it right now. And as far as you know, I already made it, and so you're ripping on me if you do it. And I'm gonna, yeah.
Can I claim that you made that for my birthday? Because I'm a Sagittarius. My birthday's on December 8th.
Yeah,
so
sure. Yeah.
Can I stake it there?
Yeah.
Also, kind of taking a step back here with the crepe Suzette situation. I really love Aperol or Campari with like orange. What if you did a little splash of that at the end to kind of like cut through some of that sweetness? I don't know.
It also has a lot of sugar in it. I think I said this on the air. Interesting thing about Campari and Aperol, same sugar level. Same exact amount of sugar. The Campari is more bitter. It's more bitter. That's why.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've measured it. All right. Well, it's December, so let us know how your Sagittarius B2 cocktail comes out. Although remember, I did it here first. You heard it here first, people. All right.
Yeah.
All
right. Thank you.
All right. No worries. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Did I already read the question last week about potato starch clarification? I can't remember what I read last week and what I didn't read last week.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Whatever's in the new document should be new.
Oh, yeah? Well, I know that's not the case because I know we talked about Yondu last week, and it's right here as the top thing. Yeah. So.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, lack of trust is based on facts. Anyway.
Real quick, let's push the Patreon.
Oh, go ahead.
Discounts and all that stuff. So everyone, just a usual weekly push to sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/cookingissues. You get a lot of awesome perks with the membership. Some levels you get the video feed so you can see Dave dancing to dueling banjos. You get access to the Discord with a great community of like-minded listeners, always talking, asking questions, things like that. You get discounts to places like Grove and Vine and Kitchen Arts and Letters. And then also for our listeners in the greater Toronto area, we got a great Panettone kind of partnership discount going with Toronto Panettone. One of our listeners, Mike, makes a really, really, really fantastic product, and he's offering 10% off to us. So that's in the Patreon as well. And if you're in that area, you should definitely order some Panettone for Christmas.
And we've had it.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
No. By the way, since Grove and Vine is an older code that's still active, anyone that's new to Patreon just has to go to the Cooking Issues page on Patreon, and there should be a little search bar. So if you search olive oil, the promo code that is still active comes right up.
Hey Nick, you still with us? We got an olive oil question.
Yeah, you'll get 10% off the Grove and Vine products.
Yeah.
What's the olive oil question?
Well, so I don't have the answer to this. I texted Harold, but I haven't heard back yet. I have ideas, but I don't want to go out and say them because probably I'm wrong. Christian wrote in, I've made a couple of flavored aiolis recently. They're not sure if that's the right term. Doesn't matter. We know what you mean. Specifically one with a confit garlic and another with a cilantro/serrano peppers. Steak and peppers. Nastasia likes the steak and peppers. No, not steak and peppers. Pepper steak. Pepper steak is not steak with peppers. It's black pepper on steak, Nastasia?
No.
Which? What do you mean no? It's neither?
I don't know what pepper steak is.
You said that you went to this restaurant, Pepper Steak. That's all you were talking about. We couldn't go get the pepper steak. Instead, we had to.
No, but I don't know how they make it.
Is it black pepper or big chunks of sautéed peppers?
No.
What do you mean no? Neither? It neither has black pepper nor peppers in it?
Maybe both.
Okay. Whenever I make these aiolis, they seem to taste best immediately after making them, but after sitting for even an hour, they begin to taste more and more eggy, bordering on metallic, and the cleaner original flavor is masked by the metallic one. Is there any way to avoid this? Here's an example recipe for context. 1 yolk, 1/2 cup. They're using a neutral oil, so I apologize. But I know this thing. And then 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil added after blending. So they're worried that if they make the aioli with the olive oil, as you know, olive oil can go bitter when it's made into an aioli in an electric machine, right? In a blender. Which is, I forget what the cause is, but I used to know the cause of that. And then garlic and salt. You got any ideas on this, Nick?
I'm not sure this is an olive oil question, but if your concern is that the oil's too strong or too bitter or something, I would use a more delicate, sweet, mellow oil, such as an olive oil made with the Arbequina olive or the regional Northwest Italian cultivar Pagliasca olive.
Well,
those will be more delicate, mellow, and sweet and won't overwhelm the garlic and other nuances of the aioli.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what's happening. Do you know what the mechanism of olive oil going bitter is when you make a mayonnaise with it in a blender? Sometimes?
No.
Me neither. I do not remember it. What I think is happening is something in their flavored olive oil and the garlic is getting a sulfur interaction because yolks, like eggs, have sulfury crap in them, and eggy smells are usually, I think, sulfur-related smells. And garlic flavors are all about sulfur smells. And in fact, memory serves me right, the real Spanish style, and Nick, you'll know this, I won't remember, and John, you probably know, the real Spanish style, the garlic thing, don't have egg as a binder. They use garlic as the emulsifier.
Yeah.
I think it's something going on the eggs and the garlic. Here's something else you might want to think about. You're thinking that when you confit the garlic for a long time that you're wiping out all of the stuff in the garlic that can make all of those things. You are not. If you take that garlic and add fresh garlic to it, it will pungentify a lot of the stuff left because you haven't wiped it out. Super high temperatures, like in a pressure cooker, will knock it out, but not just straight confit or cooking, especially depending on how long you've done it. So I would say you can use the garlic as an emulsifier without the egg yolk, and just try it. And if that's better, or if you can use a fake emulsifier to do it, then it's an interaction between the egg yolk and the garlic, because that's like some sort of sulfur on sulfur action. A lot of those things give kind of eggy or metallic notes. And if not, I don't think it's an interaction with the flavored olive oil you're adding that you whisk in later. I think it's probably between the egg yolk and the garlic. But that's me. That's my guess. I haven't heard back from the McGee yet. All right. Is this clove or Chloe? Clove. I'm going to say clove. Is there any way to reheat hollandaise sauce from fridge temperature? I've tried everything. Delis in a water bath as low as 100 in Fahrenheit. It takes forever and still splitting. Tried flat vac bags. They too split. I want to make large batches and serve it in an EC. Okay, listen. I don't know, but have you tried just letting it split and then beating it back together again? Right? Some things like... Some emulsions can be put back together as long as they're not entirely broken. You'll get what's called you'll get like a syneresis. So some of it will leak out, but as long as the base emulsion is there, you can get the liquid back into it. Or are you talking the grease comes out? If it's a liquid out, you can usually get that back in. If it's an oil out, you're pretty hosed. What do you think, John? Have you done this?
Not with a hollandaise specifically, but when you break an aioli, you can always take that out of the container, clean it, then put fresh egg yolks in there, and then re-drizzle the content in, and that'll re-emulsify and get it back to where you want it.
Yeah, but they're looking to... Another thing you could do is set it with gelatin. That's what Wiley used to do. He would set it with... he would add a little gelatin to it. It would set it, and it would like sterically inhibit it from breaking. And then when you reheat it, it never has a time as it's cooling to kind of flocculate and break. So that's another thing. I mean, I'm sure you could do it with non meat based products, but and then you could also just add emulsifiers to it that will keep it emulsified no matter what. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what would be best for that, but you could start with something simple like a xanthan Arabic mix. Because I know that works for butter syrups. So if you can make a butter syrup with Ticaloid 210 or 310, which is essentially just a mix of Arabic and xanthan, then I'm sure you could also stabilize a hollandaise with it, right?
Yeah.
Which is nothing but thick butter syrup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you think about it. I like hollandaise.
Love hollandaise.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eggs Benedict would be my last meal.
Really?
Yeah. With lots of hollandaise.
Okay, what pork in the Benedict?
Oh. Any, but
Taylor ham pork roll.
Oh! Call out.
Yeah, no.
Nick, have you ever tried real Toronto pea meal bacon?
No.
It's delicious. It's delicious.
Sounds good.
It's good. It's one of those things where like I'm just mad that just yet another thing that Americans have marginalized Canadians with, like with what we call Canadian bacon here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just another bit of skullduggery on our part. Add it to the list. All right. William wrote in. I don't know if I talked about this last week. Someone stop me if we have. If Dave starts an academic journal, he can file this under the Proceedings of the Society for Low Quality Individuals. That would be a good journal. It's for everyone.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's a journal for everyone. Over dinner with my wife, I was describing the recent advances in clarifying ginger juice. To clarify again, I'm not that insufferable, boring guy. She has a PhD in engineering and was actually interested. I mean, those aren't mutually exclusive. They could be both.
True.
Yeah. I had mentioned how starchy liquids were a long-standing clarification problem and had seen recent progress. She stopped me and asked if potato starch could be clarified and now wants to know how close humanity is to raindrop mashed potatoes. I hope very, very far, William. Very, very far. Very far.
Actually, I remember, I think I want to say David Zilber. It wasn't clarified, but he did post about, I think it was him, juicing potatoes, and then he hydrated the starch. So it was like a weird, clear goop that wasn't pleasant, but then he figured out it could absorb a lot of butter.
Yeah,
so apparently it was decent.
Well, okay, so William was like, I figured Dave would be the authority on the feasibility of raindrop mashed potatoes, which would be unholy clear mashed potato gel. Maybe this would be a Jack Schramm territory as a gelatin master. Is this the future that low-quality humanity deserves? All right, listen, here's the issue. I'm going to file this under the same category as the warm ice cream category. So for years, chefs were trying to figure out how to make hot ice cream, right? That was the thing. And so everyone thought Wiley, everyone was working on this hot ice cream problem. Food technologists, right? And yeah, they never got it. They never got it to work because you're looking for something that inherently isn't going to work, right? So they were using methocell, something that melts as it gets cooler. But the problem is that it's just not. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Anyway, so like.
Alex and Aki have posted about.
Everyone's posted about it. I was there at the time, but the thing is it doesn't work. Nobody likes it. It's not a good product. You know what I mean? The issue with this is that with mashed potato, right? We can make goop. You can even, first of all, anything that is a small enough particle to be thixotropic. Right. So like to act like a mashed potato such that it's relatively smooth. If you take a clear gel, the closest you can get to this, by the way, is to take a clear gel. There are plenty of them. But then when you blend them to make a fluid gel, which is the closest thing that you're going to get to a mashed potato, not clear anymore because it's a lot of microparticles that as the light goes through them, right, they bend. So, and they get diffused. So it's always going to look, milky, right? Or, it's like fluid gels are never, you can get them fairly clear, but the clearer they are, right, the less they act like mashed potatoes and the more they are like hair gel. So anything that's going to have kind of clumpy properties in it is going to bend light in a weird way because it's going to have a bunch of shards in it that, don't work right. It's easy to make clear starch goop, right? Because think of cornstarch, right? And you can even, potato starch will clarify. It's relatively large. So and there's lots of techniques that are built around this. In Korean cooking, I can think of a bunch of them where you grate your potatoes and then you take the potatoes out, you let the starch water sit, you harvest the starch off the bottom, and the water is fairly clear, right? But what's left over isn't going to be a mashed potato. I think it's not. I think thankfully this is not something that we have to worry about in the future. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Oh my God. Okay. Dave Kleiman writes in, can I make malt syrup from malt powder? I have sous vide and PID oven so I can do long, low temp things. If so, how? And what's the proper pH of a bagel boiling solution as well as the proper bricks so I can get an idea of how much local ingredients to use, concentrated liquid malt extract, etc. And 14 pH lye water in Thailand. Okay, strictly speaking, you don't need to you don't need to raise the pH of the water for bagels, although it will make the crust better. I don't have like hard numbers for you. The issue with malt is malt means many things to many people. So there's malt powder and diastatic malt powder. This is made by grinding up malted barley. It's essentially a flour, right? One of which is sweeter, one of which still has enzymatic action and one of which is not. There's then also dry malt extract, which is where you make a malt syrup, which is predominantly sugars, right? And, and then stuff that you could actually brew beer with and then dehydrate it. So that's dry malt extract. Usually when you're cooking with malt in the water, I'm adding malt syrup. And so actually, since I don't really have maltose or malt syrup lying around, I usually use honey because it's also a reducing sugar and it'll give you that nice kind of a brownie thing. I'm sorry if this wasn't answering your question, but this is what I've got in this short time it's being allowed to be. Oh my God, here's a Hanukkah question. Can I get to it? 36 seconds because we're going to miss it. I'm having a little Hanukkah party for about 10 to 12 people. I know I'm a bad person if I make latkes ahead of time, but the party's really for a few kids all age 7 or under. Making the latkes while everyone's over seems like a nightmare waiting to happen. Plus, I'm a bad person. Any tips for how to do it and have the latkes be as good or almost good as fresh? I've seen a bunch of different suggestions, including undercooking them and refrigerating them and throwing them in a hot oven. Don't refrigerate, freeze. Freezing is a dehydration product, and it's going to make make it crispier on reheat. But you should really still fry them. You should make them frozen, heat up a small thing, and then fry them. That's really cooking them all the way up, but only 2 hours in advance, and holding them in a 200-degree oven with the Oreo jar. No. If you hold them in a 200-degree oven with a door jar, unless you have very good skills with like an APO and like a combi oven, they're going to get the texture is going to get ruined because the latkes are not meant to sit. They're not meant to sit. They're meant to have a crispy outside and like a nice inside. The best way to do this is to pre-make, par cook, par fry, and then freeze them, and then fry them from fresh, which is pretty quick if you're willing to do that. Or go on to Simplot, which is one of the 2 largest potato manufacturers in the world, and they make what they call quote unquote old European potato pancakes that are made frozen. And you know who makes good potato products better than most of us? Simplot. Cooking issues.